Zambia's oldest and largest wildlife sanctuary, Kafue National Park, is a vast wilderness teeming with life. It shelters more than 200 lions, along with the country's largest population of cheetahs. Here, over 4,800 African elephants roam freely, making it one of the last strongholds for these giants. This land is not only a sanctuary for prey, but also a realm ruled by some of Africa's most formidable predators. Before we dive into the thrilling showdowns of the wild, tell us in the comments, which African predator is your favorite? There's a good chance it will appear next. Stay tuned for The Last Eden, Predators of Kafue. Across the vast Busanga Plains of northern Kafue, lions move like ancient warriors, shadowing every step of the antelope herds with patient precision. As night falls, the eerie calls of spotted hyenas echo through the darkness, their unsettling laughter carrying the instincts of stealthy hunters. Along the rivers that carve through the floodplains, Africa's largest Nile crocodiles lie in wait, striking with explosive force like sprung traps. On the open grasslands to the south, African wild dogs launch coordinated assaults with the speed and discipline of an elite task force. From above, the Lappet-faced vulture descends heavily, its powerful beak tearing through what remains after the hunters have fed. Each species, each landscape, weaves into the greater tapestry of survival, a realm where power and life exist in a fragile, ever-shifting balance. Tucked away in western Zambia, at the heart of Africa's wild soul, Kafue National Park stretches beyond the horizon. Here, dense miombo woodlands merge with vast flooded plains that seem to go on forever. Covering an area the size of Massachusetts, it is Africa's second largest protected wilderness, spanning more than 190 kilometers from north to south and 85 kilometers from east to west, a sweeping brushstroke of nature across the continent. The story of Kafue began in the 1920s when the land was first set aside as the Kafue Game Reserve, named after the mighty 1,600-kilometer Kafue River, the longest in Zambia. By the late 1940s, conservationists sought to elevate its status, and in 1950, under the guidance of Norman Carr, a pioneer of the walking safari, it was declared Zambia's first national park. The foundations of this wilderness run deeper than soil. Ancient rocks, from granite and schist to Katanga limestone, whisper of a time when the Earth's crust was still taking shape. Gentle hills ripple across the valleys like waves upon a sea of earth, a silent testimony to deep time. Today, Kafue is a treasure trove of biodiversity. By 2024, the park was home to 158 species of mammals, over 515 species of birds, 70 reptiles, 58 fish, and 36 amphibians. Its climate is marked by extremes, a rainy season from October to April, bringing up to a meter of rainfall, followed by the dry season from May to September, when cool, crisp air dominates. Though October's heat can climb above 33 degrees Celsius, nowhere is the park's productivity greater than in the Busanga Plains. In the rainy season, the Lufupa River floods the basin, only to retreat with the dry months, revealing a mosaic of grasslands, channels, swamps, and shallow streams. Termite mounds rise like islands, offering refuge for red lechwe and poku, and the predators that pursue them. During the flood, aquatic grasses thrive, nourishing a web of life that peaks as the land dries, sustaining one of Africa's most vibrant ecosystems. Once spread across nearly every corner of Africa, the cheetah, the fastest predator on Earth, has now been reduced to fewer than 7,100 mature individuals, surviving in less than 10% of its former range. Of Africa's 54 nations, only about 25 still hold wild cheetahs. In many places, they vanished silently, leaving behind an irreplaceable gap in the food web. In Zambia, fewer than 100 remain, confined to just 2 strongholds, Kafue National Park and Liwa Plain. Kafue harbors the largest share, though even here, the population numbers only around 60 adults. These cats are the product of millions of years of evolution. Fossils from Olduvai Gorge trace their lineage back over 3 million years to the Pliocene epoch. Yet repeated genetic bottlenecks across time have left the species with strikingly low diversity, a vulnerability that makes them more fragile in the face of climate change, disease, and shrinking habitats. Though often solitary, male cheetahs frequently band together in coalitions, most often brothers, whose teamwork brings greater success on the hunt. In the greater Kafue landscape, including Busanga, a 2024 survey by the Zambian Carnivore Program recorded just 44 cheetahs across 18 groups. Fragile in number, yet vital in role, they remain a critical thread in the ecological fabric of the plains. By keeping antelope herds in check, they protect grasslands from overgrazing, maintaining the delicate cycles of water, nutrients, and carbon that sustain this floodplain. In the Busanga Plains, life never slows. As the Lufupa River recedes during the dry season, herds of red lekwe, puku, and impala gather on the newly exposed grasslands. Here, the cheetah's mastery reveals itself. Beneath the golden light of sunset, a silent shadow moves through the tall grass. Unlike the roar of a lion or the power of a leopard, the cheetah holds but one defining gift: speed. It edges closer to a young antelope strayed from the herd, each step soundless as a passing breeze. At 30 meters, its body coils like a spring, then explodes. In 3 seconds, it reaches nearly 100 kilometers per hour, faster than a sports car, spine flexing like a whip, each stride stretching 7 meters across the earth. Its long tail acts as a rudder, guiding the chase as the quarry twists and turns. Non-retractable claws grip the ground like a sprinter's cleats. Its heart hammers, lungs drawing great gulps of air, all fueling a burst that lasts less than a minute. If the hunt succeeds, silence follows. The antelope lies still, and the cheetah feeds quickly, head low, wary of interruption. In the wild, the slow go hungry, but the loud risk losing everything. A single careless sound could draw scavengers. Lions may not match the cheetah's speed, but they hold a power no cheetah can challenge. As the winds sweep across the Busanga Plains, they carry with them the dry scent of earth and the ripeness of sun-baked grass. Suddenly, the stillness is broken by a thunderous roar that rolls across the horizon, a proclamation of dominance, a warning, and a reminder of who reigns supreme here, the lion. In this landscape, where life and loss are bound together, the lion's battle is never only for prey. It is for territory, survival, and its rightful place in an ever-shifting world. The lion is more than a hunter. It is a legacy. Fossil and genetic records reveal that their ancestors once roamed across Africa, Asia, and Europe for hundreds of thousands of years. In Busanga today, they remain the cornerstone of the ecosystem, shaping balance through instinct, precision, and strategy. Unlike other big cats, lions are not solitary. They live in prides, complex societies of females, cubs, and coalitions of males, often brothers. Each member has a role, each bond a thread in the tapestry of survival. The mane of a male is more than decoration. It is a banner of power. Dark and thick, it signals health, strength, and the ability to defend the pride against all threats. But it is the lionesses who form the pride's beating heart. They hunt, raise young, and guard one another with a bond as fierce as it is unbreakable. From the mounds that rise above the plains, they wait in silence, watchful silhouettes against the fading light. They do not rush. They do not falter. A herd grazes unknowingly. Slowly, the lionesses move into position. This is no chance encounter, but a choreography refined through generations. The blocker, the flanker, the finisher. And when the moment comes, they strike together. Explosive, precise, unstoppable. A lioness can surge forward at nearly 80 kilometers an hour, her bite force crushing with more than 4,500 newtons. Within moments, the hunt is over. For larger prey, such as buffalo, the males descend with devastating force. Weighing nearly 200 kilograms, their raw power is enough to drag down a full-grown giant. Yet amidst this raw power lies a fragile truth. In recent years, Busanga has offered glimmers of hope. Between 2021 and 2024, lion numbers here average nearly 4 individuals per 100 square kilometers, an estimated 358 lions, adults and cubs alike. Conservation efforts, GPS tracking, protective zones, and anti-poaching measures have lifted survival rates and increased reproduction by nearly 30%. But across Africa, the story is more troubling. lion populations have plummeted by as much as 3/4 in just half a century. Expanding farms, retaliation for livestock losses, and the illegal wildlife trade continue to drive this regal predator toward vulnerability. Even here in Busanga, the struggle is tangible. In 2022, 2 lionesses were caught in snares, leaving behind 8 cubs. 7 survived thanks to human intervention and were reintroduced into the wild. And still, the lion carries whispers of its past. Cubs are born marked with faint spots, reminders of their patterned kin. Jaguars, leopards, cheetahs. For some, those ghostly markings linger into adulthood, subtle echoes of evolution etched into their skin. The lion is not just an apex predator, it is a living chronicle of survival, of decline, and of hope for redemption in the wild heart of Africa. But in Africa, it's not only the great cats or the fleet-footed cheetah that wear spots as camouflage. Another predator, no less cunning and no less formidable, prowls the land. The spotted hyena, draped in mottled patterns and armed with a mind as sharp as its bite. The lineage of the spotted hyena stretches back nearly 10 million years, when it diverged from its kin and evolved into a master of bone crushing, its immense jaws and teeth forged by evolution's demand. Over millennia, they became some of Africa's most sophisticated hunters, forming powerful clans of more than 100 individuals, all ruled by a dominant alpha female. In this matriarchy, even the lowest-ranking female outranks every male. Status, passed from mother to daughter, dictates access to food, resources, and survival itself. Known also as the laughing hyena, its eerie call echoes across the plains. But the laughter is no expression of joy. It is a piercing scream of stress, a signal of competition over food, carrying for kilometers to summon, warn, or bind the clan together. Still, the story of the spotted hyena does not end with its voice. They are among Africa's most relentless hunters. At dusk, clans watch the herds with calculating patience. Their targets are not random. The weak, the old, and the young are singled out, the loose threads pulled from the fabric of the herd. When the time comes, they strike, sometimes in small groups, creating diversions, other times in full coordination, attacking from multiple angles with a deadly precision. With hearts that make up nearly 1% of their body weight, hyenas can run down prey for kilometers at speeds nearing 60 kilometers an hour, a nightmare that never tires. They do not win with speed alone, but with endurance and strategy. And when they catch their quarry, their bone-crushing bite, reaching up to 4,500 newtons, can shatter even the leg bones of buffalo. Nothing is wasted: hide, tendons, flesh, and marrow. In nature's ruthless economy, not a single scrap is left unused. Often branded as ruthless hunters, the spotted hyena is in truth a keystone of the plains. They control antelope numbers, recycle nutrients from carcasses, and enrich the soil for grasses to flourish. Their very presence keeps herds moving, sparing the land from overgrazing and giving plant life a chance to recover. So who is the ultimate hunter of the Busanga Plains? The cheetah, swift as the wind? The lion, with its pride's unity? Or the hyena, with strategy, endurance, and the most crushing bite of them all? The plains still hold more scavengers in play, smaller than the great predators, yet among the craftiest hunters of the region stands the black-backed jackal. This silver-backed canine is living proof of adaptability, light and agile. They stand less than half a meter at the shoulder and weigh no more than 13 kilograms. Armed with sharp teeth and a powerful bite, they hunt a wide array of prey: rodents, hares, birds, reptiles, and even newborn antelope. On rare occasions, jackals have been known to topple an adult impala, and when necessity calls, they join forces, using clever coordination to bring down larger quarry. On the Busanga Plains, they embody the very essence of a flexible predator. Lone hunters of small prey, cooperative pack members for greater challenges, skilled thieves at carcasses, and opportunistic feeders of insects, fruit, and even scraps of waste. Their diet is as varied as their tactics, nearly half from livestock, about a third from wild animals, a share from insects, and the rest from plant matter. Here in Busanga, the black-backed jackal plays many ecological roles: scavengers recycling nutrients, seed dispersers through their droppings, and hunters of antelope that help keep grazing herds in check, protecting the grasslands from being stripped bare. Under the harsh sunlight of the dry season, where each brittle blade of grass rises from cracked earth, warthogs continue their steady march across the plains. With sturdy bodies, thick skin, and upward curving tusks like primitive tools, they embody survival through adaptation in the searing heat of the savanna. In a land where water and shade are rare luxuries, warthogs endure as true masters of resilience. Over millions of years, they have evolved for a life of constant movement and relentless digging across Africa's grasslands. Their snouts, powerful yet sensitive, allow them to forage for food and burrow deep into hardened soil in search of hidden moisture. Tusks, reaching up to 25 centimeters in length, serve not only to break ground, but also as formidable defenses against predators. When streams vanish and the earth turns to stone, warthogs do not retreat. They dig with persistence, uncovering roots and water-storing tubers buried beneath the surface. The shallow pits they leave behind do more than sustain them alone, offering temporary water sources to other creatures, from birds to antelope. For this reason, warthogs are often known as the silent soil renovators of the savanna. Though their appearance may seem rugged and unrefined, warthogs live within a clear social structure, forming small groups known as sounders, moving together in search of food. They support one another in moments of danger, proving that even in the harshest landscapes, survival is often a shared effort. When escape becomes necessary, they can run at speeds of up to 48 kilometers per hour, their tails raised upright like small warning flags, signaling danger to the herd as they flee across the open ground. Yet when cornered, their powerful front legs can deliver a surprisingly effective defense, strong enough to challenge even a lion or a leopard in a moment of desperation. Within the biological rhythm of the savanna, warthogs play a quiet but essential role as cultivators of the land. Each time they dig, the hardened soil is softened, preparing the ground for new plants to emerge when the rains finally return. Seeds carried through their diet are spread across the plains through their droppings, breathing renewed life into the vegetation. The burrows they carve for survival often become the first footholds for fresh growth, offering shelter and opportunity to countless other species. Among them is the Impala, a swift and agile grazer with a slender frame, legs coiled with spring-loaded energy, and eyes that scan the landscape with constant alertness, moving through a world where danger hides in every shadow. It does not merely survive. It moves as if it is dancing, gliding across the plains with speed, balance, and absolute control. To endure in this unforgiving land, the Impala relies on more than instinct alone. In moments of life or death, it can reach speeds of up to 96 kilometers per hour, pushing its body to the limits of endurance. But speed alone is never enough against expert hunters. A single leap can carry the Impala more than 10 meters forward and up to 3 meters high, a sudden burst of motion designed to confuse, evade, and escape its pursuers. More than an athlete, the Impala is a specialist in survival. It favors open grasslands broken by scattered shrubs, landscapes wide enough for rapid escape, yet shaded enough to offer brief relief from the sun. The dry season is the harshest trial of the year. As grasses wither and vanish, the Impala adapts, shifting its diet to leaves and twigs, a rare flexibility among grazers that allows it to endure when others cannot. Its most powerful defense, however, is unity. Herds can swell to nearly 100 individuals, forming a living network of vigilance, where many eyes detect danger long before it strikes. Within these groups, a strict social order prevails, with dominant males defending territories during the breeding season. Their clashes are more than rivalry. They are nature's method of preserving strength, ensuring that only the strongest genes pass into the next generation. Yet the life of the Impala is not defined by motion alone. It is a vital link within the Serengeti ecosystem. As a primary prey species for lions, cheetahs, and leopards, the Impala helps maintain balance across the food chain. At the same time, it spreads seeds through its droppings, quietly aiding the renewal of the savanna after each relentless dry season. Now let's turn to the two-legged hunters, no less formidable than their four-legged rivals. Amid the vast expanse of the Busanga Plains, a striking silhouette rises above the grass, the secretary bird. Standing as tall as 1.3 meters, it strides with the elegance of a dancer, moving like a vigilant sentinel across Kafue National Park. Its scientific name translates to archer of snakes, a tribute to its lethal mastery. With a single, lightning-fast kick, this bird can unleash an impact many times greater than its own body weight, striking down venomous snakes with deadly precision. Day after day, the secretary bird patrols the plains, walking for dozens of kilometers, scanning the tall grass with unwavering focus. When danger reveals itself, wings spread wide into a protective shield. Then, with razor-sharp talons and crushing force, it stomps again and again, until the serpent lies still. Thick, scaled armor shields its legs from venomous bites. Each stomp, a precise blow from a creature that blends the hooked beak and piercing gaze of an eagle with the tall, graceful stance of a crane. A bizarre, yet beautiful hybrid of ground-based predation. But this icon of Africa faces a peril of its own. Once widespread, the secretary bird is now endangered, its survival threatened by habitat loss and human encroachment. Here on the Busanga Plains, its role is vital. By hunting snakes and small animals, it helps balance the ecosystem and reduce the spread of disease. And with every step across the grasslands, it scatters seeds, quietly sowing life into the soil. The secretary bird, hunter, guardian, and gardener of the plains. Extending from the northern wetlands, the Lunga and Lufupa rivers carve their way through the Miombo woodlands at the heart of Kafue National Park, forming an ecological corridor that links dry savanna to floodplain grasslands. The Lufupa feeds the Busanga Plains from the northwest, while the Lunga marks a boundary where two ecosystems meet. These rivers, flowing year-round, sustain the soils, turning this region into a biological powerhouse, fueling migrations, predation, and reproduction in sync with the shifting seasons. As dawn light filters through the Miombo canopy, a call pierces the air from upriver, an echo so haunting it seems to stir the wilderness itself. High-pitched, resonant, and timeless, it blends with wind and water to create a natural anthem, the voice of Africa. It is the unmistakable cry of the African fish eagle, one of the most iconic sounds in sub-Saharan Africa. Living along permanent waterways like the Luda and Lufupa, the fish eagle has thrived since the late Pliocene, honed by evolution to master the semi-aquatic landscape. With wings spanning up to 2.4 meters, the female towers larger and stronger than the male. Her pure white head and chest blaze against her dark wings and chestnut back, an emblem of strength and clarity against the sky. From above, eyes sharper than any hunters scan the water, tuned to detect the faintest flicker beneath the surface. At the slightest ripple, she plunges, no sound, no warning, just a straight fall, like an arrow loosed from a bow. Talons snap open midair, their rough spicules locking tight on a fish's slippery scales. With barely a touch of the surface, the eagle rises again, prey in grasp, vanishing into the sky as if it had never descended. Its yellow beak, tipped in black, is the perfect scalpel, dispatching prey with cold precision and breathtaking speed. No wasted effort, no drawn-out struggle. Though fish are its main quarry, the African fish eagle is nothing if not adaptable. When waters thin, it hunts water birds, lizards, even the young of crocodiles. Opportunistic and bold, it will even steal from other hunters. This versatility ensures survival through the shifting tides of fortune. In the riverlands of Lunga and Lufupa, many eagles remain year-round. Each pair chooses its fortress, a fork high in a strong tree, more than 10 meters above ground. Branch by branch, lined with leaves and moss, their nest grows over the years into a vast cradle, sometimes 2 meters across, over a meter deep. High in the Miombo canopy, these fortresses endure as symbols of partnership. The pair mates for life, defending their territory and raising their young together season after season. Under the harsh sun of the dry season, herds of African buffalo move slowly across the plains, massive, silent, like living fortresses. Weighing between 450 and 900 kilograms, their bodies radiate endurance and raw resilience. But their true power lies not only in muscle, it lies in strategy refined over millions of years. When water is scarce and predators stalk every movement, the African buffalo does not simply endure. It reshapes the ecosystem around it. The greatest strength of the buffalo is not found in the individual. It is found in the herd. Groups range from a few dozen to several hundred, bound together by an unbreakable unity. A living wall of horns and muscle, a defense so formidable that even the most skilled predators hesitate before testing it. During the dry season, buffalo herds are drawn toward the few remaining waterholes. These places become pressure points of survival, where the line between life and loss can be decided in minutes. Lions, the apex hunters of the Serengeti, understand this pattern well. They linger near these shrinking lifelines, hidden in tall grass and shadow, waiting for the herd to fragment or for a single moment of weakness to appear. Yet only about 30% of these hunts succeed. The buffalo response is often fierce and coordinated. A single charge from a mature bull can injure or even knock down an inexperienced lion. In these confrontations, power alone is never enough. Though they are herbivores, African buffalo play an irreplaceable role in the Serengeti ecosystem. Their grazing helps regulate grass density, preventing overgrowth that would threaten biodiversity. Their dung enriches the soil, supporting plant recovery after the rains. And even in death, their bodies sustain scavengers such as vultures and hyenas, completing the savanna's cycle of renewal. As the Tarangaya River begins to recede beneath the relentless dry season sun, the land is laid bare. Cracked earth, dust-coated plains. This region, stretching across thousands of square kilometers of semi-arid ecosystem, becomes defined by a single remaining flow. The Tarangaya River turns into a lifeline, a final anchor for wildlife during the harshest months of the year. But the dry season is more than a gathering. It is a trial. As the river thins into narrow strands of water, tension between species begins to rise. Predators are forced to expand their territories, ranging far beyond familiar ground in search of prey. Migrating herds push farther north, driven by thirst and necessity. It is a journey with no margin for error. Here, individuals rank among the largest anywhere on the continent. Adults in the Lufupa can stretch over 5 meters and weigh more than 700 kilograms, while a few exceptional males exceed 6 meters. Silent leviathans, moving just beneath the water's skin. Their strength is not only in size, but in design. The jaw muscles that close are among the most powerful in the animal kingdom, able to shatter bone with a single snap. By contrast, the muscles that open are weak, an evolutionary paradox that makes the bite devastating but the jaws easy to restrain. In these rivers, flowing year-round, crocodiles command a perfect ambush ground. They wait motionless for hours, only eyes, ears, and nostrils breaking the surface, indistinguishable from floating logs among papyrus and reeds. When wildebeest, buffalo, or zebra come to drink, the stillness erupts. A sudden surge underwater at 12 to 14 kilometers an hour, jaws clamping, prey dragged beneath. For larger kills, they unleash the infamous death roll, a violent spin that tears bodies into swallowable pieces. Yet these reptiles are more than solitary assassins. A hidden social order rules the banks. The largest males dominate prime sandbars where sun meets easy access to prey. Sometimes, when fish gather in the shallows, multiple crocodiles cooperate, sweeping forward in a semicircle to herd their quarry. Along the Lufupa's slower waters, this cooperative hunting can turn rivers into traps. Their voices are as varied as their behavior, from the thunderous bellows of males vibrating across the floodplain, to the faint, high-pitched chirps of hatchlings calling from inside their shells. Reproduction reveals their most surprising side. Each season, females dig nests above the floodline, then guard them fiercely against monitor lizards and hyenas. When the young are ready to emerge, their calls summon the mother, who responds with extraordinary gentleness, lifting them in her massive jaws and carrying them to the safety of shallow water. Long after, she lingers, guarding them for weeks, sometimes months. In a reptile world defined by cold instinct, such care is rare. But even these giants are bound by delicate balances. The heat of the sand decides the fate of their offspring. Cooler nests produce females, warmer nests, males. Small shifts in temperature can tip entire generations. As the climate warms, the balance grows precarious. And threats reach beyond the climate. Pollutants carried downstream accumulate in their tissues. Traces of mercury, absorbed by fish, magnified in the food chain, now course through their blood. Levels recorded in some populations are among the highest ever measured in any crocodilian, a warning signal that these ancient predators are also barometers of the river's health. As the Nile crocodiles lie in wait beneath the still waters, another figure watches from above. Towering on long legs, draped in stark black and white, the Maribou stork surveys the floodplain, a giant scavenger that embodies nature's stark dualities, both grotesque and majestic. Nicknamed the Undertaker, it cuts an unmistakable silhouette. A bald head and bare pink neck, adaptations for hygienic carcasses, contrast with a vast wingspan that can stretch beyond 3 meters. Standing 1.5 meters tall, weighing up to 9 kilograms, it is built for both patience and endurance. Along the Lunga and Lufupa rivers, they gather at dawn and dusk, roosting in tall trees or waiting motionless by the banks. From here, they scan for opportunity. They are nature's cleanup crew, tearing into the remains of antelope, elephants, or crocodile kills with hooked beaks, recycling death back into life. But scavenger is only part of their story. When food demands rise, particularly in breeding season, their menu expands. Fish, frogs, snakes, fledglings, even the hatchlings of crocodiles themselves. Opportunism becomes strategy, and their kleptoparasitic cunning often sees them stealing meals from vultures or herons. Their aerial grace is no less striking. Hollow bones lighten their bodies, turning them into effortless gliders, riding thermals for hours. Though macabre at a carcass, in the skies they soar with elegance. Maribou storks are highly social, clustering wherever food is abundant, on riverbanks, abattoirs, even landfills. This adaptability has allowed some populations to flourish, but it carries new risks. Plastics and heavy metals infiltrate their diet, seeping into the chain of life they help maintain. In Zambia's Mumbo region, riverside thickets provide roosts and nesting grounds. Their nests, rough platforms of branches, are often reused year after year, binding generations to the same trees. After a month of incubation, chicks emerge, dependent on parents until they fledge. They will not breed until around 4 years of age, but in the wild may live for a quarter of a century. Their ecological role is profound. By stripping carcasses clean, they limit the spread of disease. By feeding live prey to their young, they close the loop of predator and scavenger. They are both undertakers and sustainers of the plains. Globally, they are listed as a species of least concern. Yet in parts of West Africa, numbers are falling sharply, a reminder that even the undertaker is not beyond mortality. Kafu is not only a realm of great predators, but also a sanctuary for the banded mongoose. From their evolutionary journey stretching across the Sahel to southern Africa, including Zambia, these resilient creatures have mastered survival in savannas, open woodlands, and, most importantly, lands near water. Small yet formidable, they weigh between 1.5 and 2.5 kilograms, their bodies spanning 30 to 46 centimeters, with tails adding another 15 to 30. Muscular frames and sharp claws equip them perfectly for digging and hunting. In the regions of the Lunga and Lufupa rivers, they live in groups of 5 to 40 individuals, sometimes swelling to 75 strong. Their homes are burrows, often repurposed from monitor lizards or carved into termite mounds. With multiple exits, these shelters provide both ventilation and quick escape routes from danger. In the rocky soils of the Mumbo woodlands, where termites thrive, the mongooses move as one, shifting dens every few days as rivers, lakes, and wetlands supply them with a banquet of insects and small animals. Omnivorous and inventive, their diet reveals a sharp intelligence. The group digs collectively for beetles, centipedes, frogs, lizards, eggs, and even snakes, sometimes subduing venomous foes. Against hard-shelled prey, They wield ingenuity, prying with claws or pinning eggs and snails against stones, smashing them open, an unmistakable sign of tool use in the wild. They travel together with low growling calls, constant chatter binding the group. When danger approaches, a serval or a jackal, they form a living shield, circling tightly with heads outwards to protect their young. In the Lunga and Lufupa corridor, rich in resources, their groups remain stable, thriving at a density of about 3 per square kilometer, higher than in swamp-dominated lands, rivaling the Great Serengeti. Tarangire is home not only to giants of the savanna, but also to more than 550 species of birds. Among them stands the world's largest bird, the Maasai ostrich. Reaching heights of up to 2.7 meters and weighing around 135 kilograms, it moves across the plains like a survival machine, finely tuned by millions of years of evolution. Around 40 million years ago, the ancestors of ostriches began their transition into dry, open landscapes. Unlike most birds, they abandoned flight in favor of speed and raw power on land. Their long, muscular legs propel them to speeds of up to 70 kilometers per hour, fast enough to outrun many of Africa's top predators. These legs are not built solely for escape. They can deliver devastating kicks, capable of inflicting serious injury when threatened. In Tarangire, where the dry season strips the land to its limits, the Maasai ostrich reveals extraordinary adaptability. It can digest tough, withered plants ignored by most animals, allowing it to survive where green life has nearly vanished. Its digestive system processes hard seeds, dry leaves, twigs, and even small stones, which help grind food within the stomach. For weeks at a time, the ostrich can survive without drinking water directly, extracting moisture from its food, and relying on metabolic water produced during digestion. The eyes of the Maasai ostrich measure up to 5 centimeters in diameter, the largest of any living bird. With wide, highly sensitive vision, it can detect danger from hundreds of meters away. At the first sign of threat, sharp alarm calls ripple across the savanna before the birds explode into motion, vanishing in long, powerful strides. Breeding season reveals one of the ostrich's most distinctive social behaviors. Their nests are simple scrapes in the ground, lined with dry grass and feathers. Each nest may contain 10 to 15 eggs, each weighing more than 1 kilogram and protected by thick shells designed to endure intense heat and deter predators. At night, the male incubates the eggs, his dark plumage blending seamlessly into the shadows. By day, the female takes over, her lighter feathers merging with the sunlit grasslands. This shared responsibility is more than cooperation. It is a perfectly evolved camouflage strategy, safeguarding new life in an exposed world. The Maasai ostriches also play a quiet but vital role in the savanna's biological cycle. They disperse seeds through nutrient-rich droppings. When the rains finally return, these seeds germinate, restoring vegetation to lands hardened by months of drought. If the ostrich is the largest bird on Earth, then the Kori bustard is the heaviest bird still capable of flight. Weighing up to 18 kilograms, with a wingspan that can exceed 2.7 meters, it moves across the dry grasslands like a living silhouette of evolutionary strength. The evolutionary history of the Kori bustard stretches back millions of years, tracing its lineage to ancient birds that chose life on the ground over dominance in the skies. That biological decision granted them great size, but demanded structural adaptation and efficient use of energy. Their long, powerful legs are built to carry weight and endure distance, allowing them to roam the savanna with minimal reliance on flight. For the quarry bustard, taking to the air is a final option, as each liftoff requires enormous energy for a bird of such mass. In Tarangire, as the dry season turns soil to dust and water into a scarce resource, the quarry bustard reveals a remarkably flexible survival strategy. It feeds primarily on large insects such as grasshoppers and beetles, and occasionally captures small lizards or juvenile snakes. With slow, deliberate steps, it disturbs the brittle grass, flushing prey from hidden cover. At precisely the right moment, its beak strikes with sudden speed, executing a clean and efficient hunt without urgency. Despite its imposing size, the quarry bustard is not immune to predators such as lions, leopards, or spotted hyenas. Its primary defense is stillness. By freezing in place and relying on plumage patterned in browns, grays, and whites, it blends seamlessly into the scorched landscape. If danger closes in, it may respond with a powerful kick from muscular legs, or erupt into flight with a forceful burst of wing beats, strong enough to deter mid-sized predators. Within the Tarangire ecosystem, the role of the quarry bustard extends far beyond its own survival. It helps regulate populations of insects and small reptiles, contributing to balance within the food web during the dry season. Through digestion and waste, it also disperses seeds from grasses and shrubs, aiding vegetation recovery when the rains finally return. Each measured step it takes across the savanna is not merely an act of endurance, but the quiet movement of a living ecosystem at work. Among these waters glides one of Africa's most striking figures, the saddle-billed stork. The tallest of its kind on the continent, it can stand 1.5 meters high, with a wingspan that stretches wider than many men are tall. Instantly recognizable by its vivid red bill, marked with a bold black stripe and capped with a golden saddle, this elegant hunter is both a spectacle and a specialist. Across the wetlands of sub-Saharan Africa, from Senegal to Ethiopia, and as far south as Namibia, Botswana, and Zambia, saddle-billed storks remain widespread, though their populations ebb and flow with the rise and fall of seasonal waters. In Kafue, and especially here at Lake Ite, they play a vital role in maintaining the delicate balance of the floodplain. Unlike most birds, the saddle-billed stork is almost entirely silent, lacking the vocal organ that carries song. Instead, it communicates through the sharp clattering of its bill. Moving with deliberate grace through shallow water, it hunts with astonishing precision, its keen eyes locking on prey below the surface before striking with lightning speed. Its diet is varied. Fish like tilapia and catfish make up the bulk, but frogs, crabs, water snakes, young birds, and even small rodents all fall victim to its sharp bill. Before swallowing, it carefully removes spines or hard parts, an act of instinctive finesse that prevents injury and reveals a remarkable adaptation for survival. At Lake Ite, the stork's role is profound. By keeping fish and amphibian populations in check, it helps prevent disease outbreaks and sustains ecological stability. High in the trees along the lakeshore, their massive nests, broad platforms more than 2 meters wide, become entire microhabitats, sheltering bats, snakes, and smaller birds. And at the heart of the species lies devotion. Both parents share the burden of incubating eggs and raising chicks for over 100 days, a partnership that speaks to powerful bonds and an uncommon level of care. A among Africa's great water birds. Amid the still waters of Lake Ity, a colossal figure rises from the silence, motionless as a carved statue of stone. It is the Goliath heron, giant among herons, the largest of its kind on Earth. Standing and imposing 120 to 152 centimeters tall, with a wingspan stretching nearly 2.3 meters, this bird towers over its kin, dwarfing the gray and purple herons. Its slate-gray wings, chestnut head and neck crowned with loose, shaggy plumes, and a bold black stripe running down its breast render it an unmistakable presence in any wetland wilderness. Its call is just as commanding, a deep, resonant boom that carries for nearly 2 kilometers, echoing across lakes and marshes. Though its range extends from the edges of the Sahara to Asia, including Ethiopia, Zambia, Botswana, India, and parts of Southeast Asia, the Goliath heron is found only where the waters run clear, fish abound, and tranquility reigns. In Zambia, the man-made lake provides sanctuary. Tilapia and African catfish thrive in its depths, while shallow lakeshores and rich aquatic life create the perfect hunting ground. Unlike most herons that gather in noisy colonies, this giant is a solitary sentinel, territorial, uncompromising, and fiercely protective of its stretch of shoreline. Its hunting is a spectacle of patience and precision. Hours may pass as it stands perfectly still, waiting for a fish to drift within reach. Then, in an instant, it strikes, its spear-like bill driving deep, skewering its prey. Unlike its smaller cousins, it often drags its catch ashore, subdues it, and swallows it whole, sometimes fish half a meter long. Frogs, water snakes, young turtles, and even carrion washed ashore also fall to this master hunter. When the waters stabilize between April and June, the breeding season begins, from branches and reeds. The pair builds a fortress of a nest, spanning over 1.5 meters, on small islands or floating beds of vegetation. Within, 2 to 5 pale green eggs rest, guarded and nurtured by both parents. For nearly 100 days, they take turns warming and feeding the young, until at last, the fledglings are ready to leave the nest and claim the waters for themselves. The vast freshwater expanse of Kafu is a sanctuary for great water birds. Among them, the stork family is represented by the striking saddle-billed stork, while herons boast the towering Goliath heron. Yet, it is the crane family that brings forth the most regal figure of all, the wattled crane. Standing up to 1.75 meters tall, with a wingspan stretching to 2.3 meters, the wattled crane is not only Africa's largest crane, but also its rarest, one of just 6 crane species found across the continent. This ancient bird traces its lineage back some 50 million years, carrying with it unique evolutionary traits. Most distinctive are the long, feathered wattles that hang from its throat, features that serve not only as a defining mark of beauty, but also as a barometer of emotion. When calm, they hang loose and relaxed. When anxious or threatened, they tighten and retract. Unlike predators, the wattled crane is a patient forager. With a diet of roots, tubers, and rhizomes of aquatic plants, such as cypress and water lilies, it probes deep into the mud with its slender bill, extracting hidden reserves of energy. This delicate strategy demands precision, patience, and above all, pristine wetlands. But here in the Kafu Flats, the balance has shifted. Since the construction of the Ity Dam in 1977, natural floods have diminished by nearly 40%, erasing over half of the region's grasslands and nesting sites. At Lake Ity, the wattled crane remains vital to the ecosystem. By dispersing seeds and stabilizing aquatic vegetation, it sustains wetland health. Sensitive to every rise and fall of the waters, its survival is directly bound to the rhythm of the floods, making it one of the truest biological indicators of a thriving wetland. If you were to journey through Kafu National Park, which bird would you hope to see first? The elegant secretary bird, the African fish eagle, the towering Maribou stork, the saddle-billed stork, the mighty Goliath heron, or the rare, regal wattled crane? Best not to decide just yet. Many more extraordinary species are waiting to be revealed. Located in the southern reaches of Kafue National Park, the Lappet-Plains form a rare ecological jewel, cradled between the Zambezi, Nile, and Anoma rivers. This elevated plateau, rising between 1,100 and 1,200 meters above sea level, rests on well-drained sandy soils, perfect ground for grassland savanna to thrive. According to a 2024 ecological report by African Parks, Nangula remains one of the least disturbed regions in the park, with safari traffic averaging fewer than 0.3 vehicles per square kilometer each day. It offers a sanctuary of silence, where wildlife behavior unfolds undisturbed by mass tourism. Measuring around 45 centimeters in length, cloaked in dark plumage flecked with white, the spotted eagle owl wears camouflage that melts seamlessly into bark and stone. A twilight hunter, it thrives in the hours when day yields to night, feeding on mice, shrews, small birds, lizards, and frogs. From its perch, it launches into the night with a wingspan stretching up to 120 centimeters. Silent, swift, and unseen, it strikes without warning, swallowing prey whole or tearing it apart with ease, adapting effortlessly to shifting food supplies. As darkness deepens, pairs of spotted eagle owls call to one another across the plains. The male answers with a deep, resonant hoo-hoo-poo, while the female responds with 3 soft notes, hoo-hoo-hoo. These duets serve as both a boundary and a bond, echoing the permanence of their partnership. Across the quiet expanse of Nangula, the owl becomes part of the nocturnal orchestra. A shadow among rocks and trees, its golden eyes flicker like embers in the dark, a portrait of a steadfast hunter, woven seamlessly into the living fabric of the wild. Beneath the shade of ancient mambo trees, a hunter more formidable than a spotted eagle owl moves silently through the night. It is the leopard, an embodiment of stealth and raw power, a living symbol of survival in the unforgiving wild. On the well-drained sandy soils of the Nile Plateau, over 1,100 meters above sea level, leopards do more than endure. They flourish, their adaptability unmatched. under clear blue skies, across a shifting mosaic of savanna and open mambo woodland, where mopane and baobab trees cast deep shadows. The leopard glides with hushed precision, attuned to the faintest motion in its domain. Its rosette-marked coat blends seamlessly into the dappled light, rendering it nearly invisible. With piercing vision and razor-sharp hearing, it detects the faintest rustle, whether from a watchful antelope or a flock of foraging guinea fowl. Unlike lions, which declare their presence, or cheetahs, who depend on speed, the leopard rules with silence. It waits, it watches, and then creeps within striking distance before unleashing its attack, like a steel spring snapping to life. In that explosive instant, it channels the power of its shoulders and neck, capable of bringing down prey 1.5 times its own weight with a single lethal bite. But the hunt does not end there. With astonishing strength, it drags its kill, sometimes weighing dozens of kilograms, high into the branches, securing it for rival predators like lions and hyenas. This is not merely strength, it is strategy, an intricate balance of intelligence and instinct, proof of its mastery as a survivor. Here in Ningila, where the ecosystem remains intact, leopards maintain a steady foothold. Studies across Simalang Miombo landscapes reveal densities ranging from 1.3 to 2.9 individuals per 100 square kilometers, supported by abundant prey, bushbuck, puku, and warthog among them. Their varied diet gives them an edge in the web of competition, reinforcing their role as one of nature's most versatile predators. And yet, in the African wilderness, even the leopard is tested. For here, the greatest predator is not a beast of claw or fang, but the wild itself, relentless, unforgiving, and forever shaping the fate of its hunters. And one of nature's most ingenious problem solvers is the African wild dog. Their packs sweep across the land like living canvases, each animal draped in vivid, irregular patterns as though painted by nature's hand. Also known as the painted wolf, they stand as emblems of endurance and collective strength, perfectly suited to the vast, dry Miombo woodlands and the sweeping savannas of Kafu. Tracing their lineage back to the early Pliocene, their ancestors diverge from the canid family tree, evolving powerful jaws for a strictly carnivorous diet and unmatched stamina for relentless pursuit. On the Lappet-faced, packs usually range from 6 to 20 strong, sometimes swelling beyond 40. Led by a dominant alpha pair, the only breeders, their survival depends on unity. Every member contributes, from regurgitating food to nurturing the alpha's pups, a rare display of communal care among large carnivores. No two coats are alike. Black, brown, yellow, and white scatter across their fur in chaotic swirls, unique as fingerprints, serving both as camouflage and long-distance identification. At dawn, the pack assembles in a close-knit circle. A chorus of sharp, distinctive sneezes, an unusual form of social voting, decides the moment to hunt. Only when enough voices are counted does the chase begin. Their hunting strategy is one of persistence and precision. Unlike the cheetah, which relies on a short burst of speed, wild dogs drive their prey, often impalas or duikers, for up to an hour, pushing speeds of 60 kilometers an hour in the final surge. With success rates as high as 90%, they are among the most efficient predators in Africa. Feeding follows strict order. Pups first, then the alpha pair, and finally the rest of the pack. Yet, survival is never guaranteed. A 2024 study in Zambia revealed that packs in prey-scarce regions like Nangila must roam further, expend greater energy, and often suffer lower reproductive success. Across Africa, only around 6,600 mature wild dogs remain, barely 1,400 reproductively active males, split into 39 fragmented populations, most scattered across southern and eastern Africa. Here in the Nangila Plains, however, low safari pressure and relatively undisturbed Miombo woodland provide a rare sanctuary. Where prey is plentiful, wild dogs thrive, forming resilient packs. They do not cling to vast territories, but instead follow shifting herds, avoiding unnecessary conflict with lions and hyenas. Formidable rivals, always eager to steal a meal. When a prey animal falls, there are always eyes watching from above, patient, calculating, ready to swoop in and seize their share. Among the scavengers, one stands apart. We've already met the Maribou stork, but this land is also home to another formidable giant. High in the towering Miombo trees of the Nangila Plains sits the Lappet-faced vulture, its vast 2.9-meter wingspan earning it the title, Lord of the Carcass. Standing over a meter tall and weighing up to 9 kilograms, it wields a hooked beak, powerful enough to rip through the thick hide of buffalo or antelope. When it arrives, lesser vultures scatter. Only this titan has the strength to unlock a carcass that others cannot. Its stomach can hold more than a kilogram of meat in a single sitting. Though best known as a scavenger, it will on occasion hunt for itself, snapping up lizards, shellfish, small birds, even plundering nests, a reminder of its versatility and predatory edge. Here on the plains, its role is indispensable. By opening the remains of large animals, it grants access to a host of smaller scavengers, recycling death into life, and preventing the spread of disease through rapid carcass disposal. With razor-sharp vision, it scans hundreds of kilometers of savanna from the sky. At the faintest sign of weakness or death, it descends with dominance to begin the feast. Yet its survival depends on the health of the ecosystem itself, the abundance of prey, and the protection of nesting grounds. Wildlife organizations now fight to shield this keystone species from poisoning, illegal hunting, and habitat loss. For all its power, the lappet-faced vulture remains one of the most vulnerable creatures of the plains. But it is not alone. Across Kafu, biodiversity itself is under siege. Sophisticated poaching operations are emptying migration paths. Antelopes snared in steel traps fuel the bushmeat trade in nearby towns, fracturing the food web. Lions, leopards, and wild dogs struggle as prey fins. Even the iconic Kafu lekwe has plummeted from over 100,000 to fewer than 25,000. Elephants too suffer, their deaths tied to human activity at a rate far above what the ecosystem can bear. For years, just 60 rangers attempted to guard this immense wilderness. But a turning point came in 2019. A coalition of local and international forces expanded patrols, equipped them with drones, infrared sensors, and real-time tracking software. The results are emerging. In southern Kafue, leopard density has nearly tripled. Intensive protection zones now cover half the park, creating safer havens for lions, cheetahs, and hyenas. Piece by piece, Kafue is being restored, but the work is far from over. Protecting forests, rejecting wildlife products, supporting conservation groups, and inspiring new generations. These are the steps each of us can take, because safeguarding this place is not the task of a few. It is the responsibility of us all. In the dim, early light of morning in Tarangire, the echoing calls of the southern ground hornbill break the silence, rolling across dry grasslands and low scrub like a distant drumbeat. Unlike most hornbills that live high in the trees, this species spends its life on the ground, where long, powerful legs, reaching nearly half a meter in length, carry it steadily across the rugged terrain shaped by the dry season. The southern ground hornbill hunts with patience and precision, using its thick, powerful black beak to flip dry leaves, loose stones, and soft soil in a quiet search for movement beneath the surface. Its diet is diverse, consisting of large insects, small reptiles such as snakes and lizards, and at times, even small rodents. The hunt is silent, and each strike of the beak is deliberate, calculated, and final. In these moments, the beak becomes a perfect biological instrument, combining raw strength with rapid reflexes to deliver swift blows that subdue prey instantly. Little evidence remains behind, as the act of hunting leaves only faint disturbance, like a careful engraving carved into the rough skin of the savanna. Unlike many solitary birds of prey, the southern ground hornbill lives within a complex social structure, forming small groups of 3 to 8 individuals, with only one breeding pair while the others serve as helpers and guardians. This cooperative life increases hunting efficiency, defends vast territories, and dramatically improves the survival of their young, a critical advantage for a species whose breeding cycles may pause for several years at a time. Each member has a role, from standing guard to foraging, from defending boundaries to tending the nest, forming a tightly bound social unit that allows the species to endure the undirging climate of Tarangire. The hornbill's most distinctive feature is its voice, a deep, low-pitched call that ranks among the farthest carrying sounds of any land bird. Lasting 4 to 5 seconds, the call can travel more than 3 kilometers depending on wind and humidity, defining territory, maintaining contact between group members, and signaling readiness to breed. When released from open ground or tall grass, the sound echoes between distant hills, forming an invisible acoustic map that marks the presence of the species across the landscape. In the dim light of dawn at Lake Minyara, raindrops clinging to blades of green grass mirror the pale, mist-laden sky above, creating a fragile stillness at the edge of daybreak. Moving gently through the serene landscape is the gray-crowned crane, a living symbol of elegance and resilience within the natural world of East Africa, its presence calm yet commanding. Its golden crown, shimmering like a royal headdress, draws the eye immediately, not merely as an ornament of beauty, but as the mark of an evolutionary journey refined over millions of years. As the rainy season floods the marshes surrounding the lake, an entire wetland ecosystem awakens, and it is during this time that the gray-crowned crane enters its most radiant phase, performing elaborate courtship dances across the lush green grass. Each spin, graceful bow of the head, and resonant call forms part of a rhythmic and expressive language, a ritual of communication shaped by instinct and time. Their voices can travel more than 3 kilometers, rising and carrying across the open savanna like an invisible thread that binds individuals together across vast distances. Within the fertile marshlands and grasslands surrounding Lake Minyara, the gray-crowned crane finds an abundant supply of food, moving slowly and deliberately in search of seeds, insects, grasses, and occasionally small animals. Its pointed beak allows it to gather nourishment from the ground or shallow water with precision, leaving the delicate balance of the environment largely undisturbed. Long, slender legs enable the crane to wade into deeper flooded areas, extending its reach and enhancing its ability to survive through shifting seasonal conditions. amid the surging tide of the Great Migration, as millions of wildebeest, zebras, and Thompson's gazelles pour across the Serengeti Plains, a different kind of predator emerges. African wild dogs appear like silent warriors, moving with purpose rather than brute force. They lack the sheer power of lions and the relentless persistence of hyenas, yet they embody something equally formidable: flawless strategy and unwavering teamwork. With a hunting success rate reaching up to 80%, they stand as living proof that collective intelligence can surpass individual strength. As one of Africa's oldest predators, African wild dogs have been shaped by millions of years of evolution into masters of pursuit. Unlike other members of the canine family, they possess only 4 toes on each foot, a unique adaptation that enhances both speed and endurance during prolonged chases. Their patchwork coats of black, yellow, and white do more than blend them into the savanna. Each pattern acts as a natural fingerprint, allowing individuals to recognize one another within the pack. A typical pack consists of 6 to 20 members, bound together in a tightly knit social unit, centered around a dominant breeding pair. Cooperation extends far beyond the hunt. It governs how pups are raised, how injuries are endured, and how threats are confronted together. This foundation of unity gives the pack remarkable resilience, allowing it to function efficiently across a wide range of conditions. The rainy season blankets the Serengeti with fresh life, but it also intensifies competition. Lions and hyenas force wild dog packs to remain constantly on the move, avoiding territories where dominance is already claimed. Even so, the open savanna becomes their arena, a vast canvas upon which they execute hunting strategies with precision that feels almost calculated. When prey is identified, often a Thompson's gazelle or a young zebra, the chase begins. The pack accelerates to speeds of up to 60 kilometers per hour, spreading out, flanking, and rotating positions until exhaustion overtakes their target. The hunt unfolds like a carefully rehearsed maneuver, with each individual performing a specific role, adjusting instinctively to the movements of the others. After a successful kill, time becomes their greatest enemy. They have only minutes to feed before hyenas or lions arrive. Hyenas often appear in overwhelming numbers, relentlessly attempting to steal the meal, while lions pose an even greater threat, capable not only of claiming the kill, but of killing any wild dog that lingers too close. In this world, speed and agility are not advantages, they are necessities for survival. Within the Serengeti ecosystem, African wild dogs are more than hunters. They function as natural regulators, controlling populations of smaller herbivores and preventing overgrazing that could strip the land bare. Their presence forces prey species to remain mobile and alert, allowing grasslands time to recover and maintaining balance across the wider landscape. Yet, their story is not one of endless triumph. According to the International Union for Conservation of Nature, African wild dogs are now classified as endangered, with fewer than 6,000 individuals remaining worldwide. Habitat loss, diseases transmitted by domestic dogs, and the mounting pressures of climate change continue to push them closer to extinction. Still, their existence stands as a powerful testament to the strength of unity, the power of cooperation, and the resilience born from adaptation in the wild. During the dry season, the Mara River flows gently, a quiet ribbon cutting through the plains. But when the rains arrive, it transforms into an uncontrollable torrent. Tropical downpours force the water level to rise, creating powerful whirlpools capable of sweeping away anything caught in their path. Along the river's winding bends, floodwaters spill over the banks, turning soft, muddy ground into deadly traps. The lead animals plunge forward, risking everything to show the way, yet not all will ever reach the far shore. Each year, Nile crocodiles claim an estimated 10,000 wildebeest in the Mara River region, stretching up to 5.5 meters in length and weighing nearly 700 kilograms. These ancient predators reign over the dark waters with quiet dominance. Their evolutionary lineage stretches back more than 200 million years, a design refined long before the age of mammals and virtually unchanged since the time of the dinosaurs. Thick, armored skin shields them against even the harshest conditions, while eyes and nostrils set high on their heads allow them to remain submerged as they monitor every movement above the surface. Along their jaws, highly sensitive pressure receptors detect the faintest vibrations in the water, ensuring that few victims escape their notice. Amid the chaos of river crossings, it is estimated that nearly 15% of wildebeest never reach the opposite bank. According to the Tanzania Wildlife Research Institute, the majority fall prey to Nile crocodiles. Their signature technique, known as the death roll, is among the most formidable feeding strategies in the natural world, as they seize their target and spin with brutal force, tearing flesh or cutting off air until the struggle ends. Yet Nile crocodiles are more than symbols of raw power. As apex predators, they play a critical role in regulating herbivore populations, preventing overgrazing, and helping to maintain water quality. The remains left behind sustain Maribou storks, hyenas, and other scavengers, ensuring that no part of the kill is wasted. Their presence forces migrating herds to keep moving, distributing grazing pressure more evenly across the greater Mara Serengeti ecosystem. As tropical rains pour down in torrents, Ruaha National Park awakens, as if the skies themselves have breathed life back into this ancient wilderness. Located in central Tanzania, the park spans more than 20,000 square kilometers, making it the largest protected area in the country and one of Africa's most important ecological strongholds. Ruaha lies at the meeting point of two major ecosystems, East Africa and Southern Africa, creating a landscape defined by diversity and constant motion. At its heart flows the Great Ruaha River, swollen by seasonal rains and surging through the land like a vital artery. This river does more than provide water. It sustains hundreds of plant and animal species that depend on its rhythms to survive. During the rainy season, herds of wildebeest and zebras move into the region, drawn by freshly sprouted grasslands. Grants, gazelles, and impalas scatter across the plains, grazing while remaining alert to predators such as lions and cheetahs. In Ruaha, the rainy season paints a landscape of striking contrast. Life flourishes in every direction, yet danger presses in from all sides. The river grows fierce, sometimes blocking migration routes, sometimes becoming a lethal trap. Spotted hyenas exploit these conditions, using the chaos of rising waters to isolate and hunt the vulnerable, turning nature's abundance into opportunity. Across the vast expanse of Ruaha National Park, the eastern black rhinoceros emerges as a powerful symbol of enduring life. Its massive frame, thick armor-like skin, and horns stretching up to 100 centimeters long, reflecting the unwavering presence of a creature shaped by millions of years of evolution. Its survival stands as a reminder that even in the harshest corners of nature, true strength lies not only in power, but in the ability to adapt. This subspecies of black rhinoceros has endured Africa's arid landscapes through countless evolutionary challenges, carrying within its form the legacy of ancient ancestors defined by resilience, endurance, and an extraordinary will to survive. As of 2023, the global population of black rhinoceroses stands at just around 5,000 individuals, with the eastern black rhinoceros representing only a small fraction of that fragile total. Once widespread across eastern and southern Africa, these giants now persist in only a few scattered populations, with Ruaha National Park standing as one of their final remaining strongholds. Their distinctive upper lips curve like natural pincers, allowing them to grasp young shoots, strip leaves from branches, and even dig roots from hardened ground, an adaptation essential for survival in unforgiving environments. Through this feeding behavior, They play a vital ecological role by regulating vegetation growth, preventing the overexpansion of shrubs, and helping grasslands maintain balance. The trails carved through dense vegetation as they move not only open pathways for other animals, but also shape the structure of the landscape itself. Even in death, whether from old age or predation, their remains nourish vultures, Maribou storks, and countless scavengers, ensuring that no energy is wasted within the ecosystem. As the rainy season transforms Ruaha National Park, awakening grasslands and woodlands alike, it also heralds the arrival of another towering presence, the giant eland, moving through the landscape as a living symbol of strength and quiet grace. Standing up to 2 meters at the shoulder and weighing close to 1,000 kilograms, it is the largest antelope species still walking the earth. Its spiraled horns, stretching nearly 120 centimeters, serve not only as formidable weapons of defense, but also as clear markers of maturity and status within the herd. The giant eland moves calmly through grasslands and low brush, foraging on fresh grasses, seasonal shoots, and fruits, a diverse diet that fuels its immense body and sustains it through the demands of life in the wild. Despite its enormous size, its steps are nearly soundless, a remarkable skill in a land where silence can mean the difference between safety and danger. When threatened, the giant eland can surge forward at speeds of up to 70 kilometers per hour, outpacing predators such as lions and leopards in short, explosive bursts. Its spiraled horns become deadly defensive tools, capable of delivering powerful thrusts that force even experienced hunters to hesitate. Yet the future of the giant eland remains uncertain. According to a 2023 report from the International Union for Conservation of Nature, the species is currently listed as vulnerable, with global populations showing troubling signs of decline. In Ruaha, sustained conservation efforts, from anti-poaching patrols to community education programs, play a crucial role in safeguarding the continued presence of this remarkable antelope within one of Africa's last great wilderness strongholds.